Hey everybody, my name is Matthew Gibson and welcome back to Fusion 360 Tutorials. And what we're going to be talking about in today's episode is extruding. Just a quick little clip about extruding from a plane to make a 3D shape in very simple fashions and some of the technicalities that go along with that. And so in our last video we did sketching and we actually were left with this plane or with this orchestration of different lines and shapes here. And so when extruding, you can't extrude a line up forward into a plane, but you can take a shape, like a circle, and stretch it out, or a rectangle and make it longer, or whatever you want to do. And it stretches out into a 3D plane. So if you wanted to make a cube, you could do that. And I'll show you how to do that in another video. But just for now, I'm going to show you with the shapes I have already drawn, just how to extrude them out and what kind of things go along with that. And so just like the sketching palette here, we have the extrusion palette, the hotkeys, excuse me. So essentially, you can hit extrude, create form, and a bunch of other stuff. If create form works a lot better for 3D shapes that you're, exactly, as you can see from the tooltip here, you're trying to go in and kind of like push and pull a part of a model or something like that. But extruding is a much more general version of that, and that's what we're going to stick to today. You can see it just add depth to a closed sketch profile. Meaning, I click this button here, it automatically sets me to a view adjacent to what I'm looking at here, so that I can more accurately see with depth what I'm looking at, a 3D perspective essentially. And you notice that with each line, with each shape that I'm hovering over, as I move my mouse, the black lines around everything change. That's just showing me it's a completely enclosed shape. So if I were to click here, it highlights it blue. And just like sketching and just like drawing circles and stuff like that, the blue text here means that I can punch in the distance I want. And that includes a negative distance, so I could punch in negative 45 and it would extrude it downward. If I change that to positive 45, it'll extrude it upwards based off the reference plane that I picked before. But if I just want to eyeball it just to kind of give a general idea, then what I can do is I can actually just use the arrow here, click and drag, and it moves in segments of 5. So if you're just looking for an eyeball, this is a good way to do it, and it works both ways. But what's important to note is that in the original shape, there was this polygon here, although these pieces are being excluded, and that's because they've become their own shapes once they were locked in under the circle and the rectangle that I drew adjacent to them. And so I'm going to do another extrusion just to show you what I mean. But what's important to know is that when you are in the extruder or extruding tool and you click on another one, it moves it both to the same and it treats them both as one extrusion. So what I can do is if I hit escape, or nope, I gotta go back in and build it up, and then enter, right? And essentially what Fusion assumes that you do is you had looked at your plane, decided what you wanted to extruded it, and now you're done with the sketch. Well, that's not true because we need to go back. So the way you do that is by the history tree. History tree, this is just a quick aside, is on the left here. The history tree works with sketches, bodies, origin, all that stuff. We want to go to the drop-down menu of the sketch here and open up sketch 1 again. You can see it kind of brings up a little highlighted view of what our sketch is, and if we double click, it'll bring us right back to the sketch and completely ignore the fact that we had extruded this already. And so you have a sketch and kind of a workspace form. And so in your sketch form, it's just purely what you drew on the plane, while your workspace is much more like the assembled parts of what you're building can kind of come together. And so to show you what I mean, I can take this and extrude it a much shorter distance than the other one, hit enter, and there they both are. And you see they still omit that piece in the middle because it's its own piece now. And yeah, that's the basics of extruding and just things to keep aware of, or how to draw shapes and stuff like that. So if you know how to sketch, you'll be good to go. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. My name is Matthew Gibson, and I'll see you next time.